Hello, Cancer. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Website is schifferbooks.com. Feel free to freeze frame and check that out if you are interested. Supportive Oracle cards, Magical Spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. In the back here, it's illustrated by Jesse Reish, but there's also a website at the bottom, hayhouse.com. Feel free to freeze frame and check that out if you're interested. Okay. Cancer. Ooh, your card right at the top. All right. I feel like things are going well, but I feel like you're going to argue that they're not. Maybe you're on the outside at the moment. Things are going well. Maybe you don't see it just yet. Things are changing. In my experience with Cancer, the Cancers that I know, well, I do know one Cancer that seems to flow with change fairly easily. I know another Cancer that doesn't at all, and it seems like I know a couple Cancers that don't. So I think usually Cancers don't really care for change. I could be wrong. There's change going on here. Okay. Whatever is changing, you've been really hard to keep it where it is all this time. So if we make it really simple, maybe you're living in a certain place and you've been fighting tooth and nail to make sure you can keep this place. Wherever it is you live, you want to stay. I don't want to change things. I like the people I live around. I like how close it is to this, that, and the other thing. I know how to get here and there. It works for me conveniently. I know where everything is. And I don't want to move. I don't want to do it. You've been fighting tooth and nail for the longest time. The thing is, you're running out of options to keep it, is what I'm also getting. I don't know where my phone is, but I just heard it. You're running out of options to keep it. You're trying to think of new ways to keep it, but I feel like the well is starting to run dry. This isn't bad, but I feel like your initial reaction is like, yeah, it is, because I don't want to do this. Trying really hard to keep what you have. You really like what you have, and you don't want to let it go. You're fighting tooth and nail, tooth and nail. Okay, so not to beat you to death with that. Ace of Wands, this fell out face down when I was shuffling. Oh, there we go. This was face down, so I didn't know what this was, but the Ace of Wands is coming in. You hate it. You hate it, hate it, hate it. Change is here. Change has to happen. This is not something you're a fan of. It's going to be good. I get that it's going to be really good, but it's like, because of the way it's happening especially, you're like, no, it's not. So if this is connecting with you and you're like, I hate this whole change thing, hopefully this is like some beacon of light to show you that things will go more your way soon. You're not going to be able to keep the house, for example, but where you're going to might suit you much better than you thought possible. Maybe you had no idea of some of the attributes or gifts that you could end up getting by changing your location type thing. Because I'm getting travel here with the Chariot. The Chariot is the Cancer card. When I think of the Chariot, I feel like that's it's like if you're thinking of like football, for example, those are home games. A lot of action, a lot of things moving around, a lot of moving parts. Maybe people are coming in to visit, but when I think of the Chariot for Cancer, it's all movement within the known area, the known realm. It's like there's a lot of movement, but it's all within the area I know. It's kind of like going to see people in your own town, people you've known for years. It's all movement within your own sphere of influence. But this is saying you're traveling out of that sphere of influence. You're going into something new. You're going into a whole new situation. And I know I've said this 50,000 times, but it's not something you're really a fan of. There's a lot of good energy coming in here. The first step is to let your friends help you. You do have a lot of support around you. I do feel like there's a good support group around you. So there's going to be people that I'm getting like a double-edged sword here. It's good that people support you. If they support you in holding you to the past because they understand that, like, you don't want to let go and they're trying to fight to help you hold on to something that's leaving, it's not really helpful. ironically, they're very loyal to you, and they're probably really good friends, but trying to hold you to the past, especially because you want to, I mean, it makes sense why they would do that. That's just making your journey that much more difficult. So be careful with that. Be aware of that. Having people, who support you, who are trying to keep you where you're, like, if you want to keep that house, they're fighting tooth and nail with you to try to help that. It's just going to drag this process out that much longer for you, and it's going to kind of like draw them down too. Try to gravitate towards the friends that are kind of like, you know what, change could be good. There's good things in the future. Let's find some other things that can make your life easier. Let's kind of flow with the change. I'm getting this with the friendship energy. Like, I do feel like you have a plethora of energy around you, and I know this is for a general read, but it's kind of going to be on you to like empower your friends to help you move forward and not try to hold you to the past, which Cancer is going to want to stay. I feel like that's hard. Ultimately, people supporting you could end up holding you back and making this draw a lot longer because that's what you want, so they're trying to fight and help you keep what you want, even though it's not going to happen. If you can kind of free them from that and try to empower those that are helping you move forward, keep that in the back of your mind if there's something you can do with that. I feel like that's difficult because I'm getting like people trying to help you. I got the Chariot on the dice, and I got the Three of Cups, both coming in, halfway out, which means friendships could be more difficult if they're not going in the healing direction, going in the advancement direction. If they're trying to help you stay where you want to stay, it's kind of a fruitless fight, and it's not going to help you or them. It's just going to drag this out. There's a lot of loyalty around you. This could drag out a lot longer. By letting things go and moving towards the future, it's better for you and this connection, whoever you're around and whoever's supporting you. That's just kind of like hopeful, because you're going to go into the Strength card, which I feel like you're going to fight. And you can hold on for a long time, but it's like holding on to the edge of a cliff. You might be able to muster up a lot of strength, and you might have people anchoring you to it and trying to get you up and all that stuff, but what's going to finally happen is 5 feet from the edge of the cliff, when you almost get back up on it, it's going to crack and you're all going to go off. It may look like you're going to win, but when push comes to shove, you're all not going to win. You're not going to be able to keep what you want. Not to be a downer, but that's what I'm getting. The sooner you accept the change and let things happen, it's like instead of trying to get back up the cliff, trying to lower yourself down to the next ledge so you can move on that way and go wherever the path leads you, the easier it's going to be. You have success coming for you. You got a new bond coming for you down the road. You got the Two of Cups. You got a lot of energy. You got the Sun card. You got joy. Literally the Joy card coming in. There's a lot of good things coming for you. It is going to happen sooner or later. You could end up dragging this out for another year, possibly 2. They're saying go with it. Go with it so you can look back in a year or 2 and be done with the change, versus in a year or 2 just be like finally accepting it and just starting to go through the process of changing over. It's better to get through it and move on from it rather than to drag it out and then it takes that much longer. It's just that much more painful. It kind of reminds me of like a rash that you don't take care of correctly. You're putting the wrong thing on it. And if you constantly put the wrong thing on it and it just keeps aggravating it, and you have this rash for 3 months, it's so aggravating and painful. It's just like, I wish I got rid of that the right way. I wish I just did what I was supposed to do and just let it take care of itself. Just let it get some air. It wasn't pretty, but if I just let it get some air like it should have, it might not have been pretty, but at least it would have healed and I wouldn't have had to dealt with it for 3 months, versus like having to constantly deal with this situation. You do have really good things coming forward. Once it changes, you got a lot of energy coming in, which I'm getting. You're going to have a lot more vigor for life, a lot more excitement. Once you resettle in the new situation, in the new area, wherever that may be, I feel like things are going to be a lot better for you. It's better to go through the change and be on the other side of it than to be trudging through and holding it back. I really feel like the point of this reading is to like let go and move forward with it, and to not fight against it and slow it up and make it drag out much longer than it has to. Because to me, it's like if it goes on for 2 years, even though you're fighting it and fighting it and fighting it, it's kind of like, is it better to fight it for 2 years and just lose anyway, or just accept the change, go through it, and then 2 years from now being like, you know what, that's over and I'm stable and I'm happy again. I'd rather be happy again in 2 years than just accepting that it's over and then starting that process of the grieving after 2 years, which may sound odd, but that's what I'm getting from this. I mean, naturally, you got to do what you think is right. This is just, hopefully a heads up in the thought of trying to make things a little bit more palatable for you, maybe a little nicer, a little bit easier. It's kind of like the change is happening, but it's kind of like letting it happen and moving forward with it. Whatever's leaving is leaving. It's funny, I just noticed the 13 on this card. 13 in a tarot deck is the death card. It may be a difficult ending, but it's going to be a good ending for you. 13, not only is the death card is sometimes Scorpio energy. You're not Scorpio, but it's a very compatible energy. It can be very rough energy, but it's also a very compatible energy with Cancer. Once it's done and said and taken care of, when things start adding up for you again, they are much more pleasant. It's kind of like let it go, move on, so you can pick up and enjoy what's there for you in the future. So you have to drag out what's not working for you. I don't know why I'm going to do this, so I'll give you one more analogy. This is kind of like also holding on to a car that constantly you have to fix, and it's constantly a distraction to deal with, very, very challenging. It's kind of like sell the car, do whatever you got to do with the car, and buy a new one. Just bite the bullet and do it. You'll be thankful, you'll enjoy that new car. It might take you a couple months to get used to, but you will enjoy it a lot more once you accept the change. Are we good? Alright, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email. jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.